Hi, welcome back to my blog, A Chief's Wife's Hearts of Fire. I'm the Chief's wife, and I'm here with mini cabinet cards and mini albums. Let's get started. The first mini album I have is about 5 years old right now, and no, it's still not finished. The way everything is, you get going with it and you don't go back to it. I do have most of it done, but some of it's not done because I didn't come up with the right ideas I wanted at the time. And now I do. Believe it or not, both of these albums are made out of toilet paper rolls. And in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you how I did that. First off, let's start with the mini cabinet cards. Remember all those large cabinet cards that we made? Well, I got all of them done for both sides of our family, so I decided to go back and make some mini ones. I kept thinking about the toilet paper roll album that I made, and so I wanted to do another one in a different way. And I'll show you why in a second, but the reason why was to put the mini cabinet cards into a photo album. Okay. Now, all this is tied together by a hairband. I just happened to have a hairband that I had my hair in a ponytail, and it broke off just with the rubber band on it. I decided to hang on to it, and I took it out when I got this finished up and thought, oh hey, put a little charm on there, and that looks cute to close that up. The reason why was because I originally thought about doing some chain right through there, but it wasn't very strong with the cardstock. I think if I was going to go back and do this over, I would put grunge paper on this. Now, the toilet paper rolls just happened to fit this tag perfectly, and that was why I decided to use this. But you'll notice that when you put the toilet paper rolls together in a lengthwise way, the way I did, you tend to get it a little bit stiff to open up. It does make nice little pockets that this has lasted 5 years, and all I did was put the toilet paper rolls stacked together after I had the cardboard onto it and put it's coagulated paper cardboard wrapped around it, and the paper ribbon, which is really a handle from a grocery bag, and then put another piece over the top of it and put the hemp all the way through and tied my buttons on there. Now you'll be able to see through there that it's all tied together, so there's not going to be any way it's going to come apart. But these little tags made perfect little pockets. The toilet paper roll is really firm, and it is able to handle something that's thicker, so you can put a lot of things on there, like the classic charms that come from Tim Holtz. What I did with this, printed out on your computer program, make your pictures into the 1/80th or the 100th or 1/48th of what it is as a regular photo printed out as a half page. And these cards are on the wallet size. So when you're thinking about wallet size compared to these, you'll figure it out when you run your computer printer a little bit. Play around with it to get the right sizes you want. On the other side of each of the tags, I have journalism. Room to make some little journals on the back of it. You can see why this is really stiff, which is why I wanted to come up with a different kind. And each tag has something of its own, and I even have one smaller pocket that has journaling pages on the inside with little mini tags that I'm going to make into a little banner with our name across there. I just put the tags in there so I wouldn't lose them. They're made just like the other tags that I made, only I had scraps left over, so I cut mini tags out of them. And each page has some kind of seasonal Tim Holtz on there. And to get these moving parts onto your tags, you put two sides of the tags together for the cardstock. And on your other paper that goes on top is what you attach your movable things to, and then attach the paper to the tag itself. Get a nice thick little tag there, and your envelope pockets. Now this is off of the Stampin' Up. So what I did was I put the pocket in there and then put a couple of color pictures as puzzle pieces in there. That was another scissors cutter. And the last one is the last two pictures, one of the next year and one of that year. I love doing these little tags, but if I was going to go back again, I would do the grunge paper because the cardstock is just not as thick for this type of a bag of a mini album. Now, here's the newer one that I did, and I decided to dress it into the older papers instead of red, white, and blue. And I came up with this idea of using the hardware findings, but it wasn't exactly the way I wanted to do it, tying it with the hemp rope. Instead, I wanted the picture to show up on the inside, but my original idea was using the hitch to go underneath and hitch onto the inside of the lock, onto the hole. I can still do that differently the next time I try it. We'll see. This is actually off of the Tim Holtz little tag on the outside of your grunge paper. He's got little tags that let you feel what the paper looks like on the outside of the package. I always save my tags to make something more out of them, and in this case the 5, which I cut myself just because my other numbers were all too large out of the grunge board. I decided to make it 5, which means 5 generations. Now, on the inside of each, you're going to have a double page, which is actually 2 toilet paper rolls. Now, here's what the tags look like. And by the way, I am using the industrial French paper that is Stash, which I really love that Stash paper because you get each of these pages in different sizes, plus the backs are all differently patterned so that you can decide to use the pattern or you can use the photos that come in there. And they come with lots of different ideas to use on there for your tags. Now, the tags are simply cut to the size of the toilet paper roll. You can see how this fits right inside the roll itself. And I'll show you in a minute how I cut the papers to also fit around the rolls. I love doing this because you can fit so many things inside there. Now, the band of the book itself is what I wanted to do differently. You can see how much easier this one opens up to each page. And the last page that comes with, I actually found a real cabinet card that has 3 bakers on it that says Logan's 40 Indiana, which I thought was really cool. I'm going to do something with that too. And again, we have all of the papers out of the stash in different sizes to use. All I did with this was use the tag and book plates and then cut it thinner. And I came up with all the tags that fit into this. Now, your outside things go onto the first layer of papers, which is attached to the second layer and then attached to the book. You started out with, and in this case for the new book, I'm using, which is the grunge, it's not the grunge paper, no, this is the Tim Holtz Coordinations paper. And this is probably my favorite paper. I've got the sand brown, and I've also got China blue, which we used for all of Brett and Holly's wedding invitations and lots of the boxes and everything. But this paper is really tough, and I find that it makes a really nice outside for the albums. In this album, I'm going to have 8 of these toilet paper rolls. And the very first thing you want to do, besides cutting your paper to fit the toilet paper roll, and then also scoring. Now, if your score goes through on the outside a little bit, that's okay, because you're going to have another piece on the outside of that, remember? And the first thing you're going to do is put bottoms onto your toilet paper rolls. And I'll have to put this back up so it doesn't spring out at me. And I take my tape runner and add a piece of tape onto each side of that. And all this is another piece of your paper that you're covering with cardstock. And cut into a small, however size that will fit. And what I like to do is score it twice so that it's got a flatter bottom. That makes sure that the pocket itself can expand a little bit more than if it was just a single one. It would be a lot thinner. So a double score on these works better. take all of your toilet paper rolls and measure your paper to cut with 12 by 12 paper length all the way out. And double score for this because this book is going to be a fold out. In other words, instead of having let's see if I can do this. Instead of having an album that is 2 toilet paper rolls, this is going to be the whole album folded up together. This one's going to fold in, then another page of 2 that's going to fold under that. Then on your last 2 pages is another set of 2 folding together so that it all folds up to be the same size as this. That's a lot better than having a larger set of album there with the toilet paper rolls. Okay, so what you're going to do for the trick of making the spine, I found that this works really, really good for this spine to help it to open up, and that is I took other little pieces of the same paper that's left over from the 12 by 12 cut, because I got 2 of these out of each of the 12 by 12 papers. So, each time you have your toilet paper roll come to the end, what I did was I took one of these little pieces that I just cut out and scored and stuck it to here and stuck it to the back. So the next layer of double rolls, and in this case it would have been each single roll. And the next one that folds over as a double, if this was a double, I would take another piece and put up here in the empty space across there and across here. And then when the next one folds over, you're going to do another one on top of there and this space, and it's going to go on top of this set. Each of these is adhered to the back and adhered to the other side and adhered to each other, and it opens up much easier. Not only that, but I've got loads of extra room in there to expand and put extra things in there. So there you go. And while we're at it, my tags are going to be different for this book too. Instead of having just the book plate tag to make, I decided to make what looks like more like bookmarks. And each one does fit into the toilet paper roll, but with a little difference. I used an edger to make different edgings on all 4 sides. I think I'm still going to have the circulars just because I like those. Now, when you have leftover toilet paper rolls, don't throw them away, because a friend of mine, one of my besties also, we made these for our church ladies group, and we passed them out to one of the nursing homes in frames. She took toilet paper rolls and just cut them into small cuts and put them together, and we made daisies out of them with buttons in the middle to hold that together. Really neat idea, and it was something simple like quilling, but all you had to do was just cut it apart and glue it. We painted ours and then left some of them also plain so that they would look like cardboard, plain cardboard. So there you go, there's your idea for mini albums and mini cabinet cards. Each of these cabinet cards will fit right into that toilet paper roll holder. I hope you give this a try too. Thanks a lot for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.